This is the last lesson of Hebrews. I guess we're adjusting. So this is the last one in Hebrews, and it's kind of been interesting to me. But this is live out the faith. Believers are to live a higher standard. Well, Hebrews has been a pretty neat lesson to me because it's always been Paul talking to these terrible Hebrew people, trying to convince them how to live. And dadgummit, here we are in chapter 13, and all of a sudden now he's turned it to me. And I think personally, I think here Paul is talking to us as a group of believers, us as a Sunday school class. And really, when I saw it, that's what I see today. Is I think there's some truths that we as a Sunday school class need to learn and re-examine and listen and make sure that we're doing what we want to be doing. And it's right here at Thanksgiving, at the holidays, a good time to learn. But it is live out the faith. Believers are to live a higher standard. What would that standard be?
Jesus.
Yeah, I think we just cannot forget that. Okay, Jesus Christ, and we're going to go back to it. So what is our standard? Jesus Christ. Therefore, what? Let's read the last lesson just so we know. Okay, Jesus Christ is the same today, yesterday, and forever.
Today and forever.
So have our standards changed from what Paul is teaching right here? They have not. Boy, has the world changed, though, hasn't it? And boy, is it tough for us to remember our standards have not changed. Our goal has not changed. We've all looked, and y'all talked last week a lot, I think, about the church and our church and how it has changed and how worship has changed and all that. All that's wonderful. We have to change with the time. But what does not change? The message and our standards. We're to live to a higher standard. A higher standard than what?
And what the world says.
Yeah. Keep answering. Because I will go, God and Jesus are the same. God is I am. The higher standard is higher than anything we could possibly know. That's how high a standard we are to live to, is higher than anything we can possibly achieve. That is the standard we're to live to. Pretty high standard, isn't it? So no matter how high I get here, no matter how good I am, what am I to do? Live to a higher standard, aren't I? Tough. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I have thoroughly enjoyed this Sunday school class. I do. I think it's a great class. I think we do the things that we should do as a Sunday school class. But what?
We can always do more. Oh, yeah.
we need to be a higher standard, don't we?
And here this is kind of typical for end of the year kind of stuff. As the new year creeps near, that we always start saying, okay, now what can we do different? How can we start our new year to be? How can we be better in the new year? And we just do that.
Yeah.
And that means there's always room for it.
But to me, that means you set your goals higher than you can ever achieve. The goals are already been set.
True.
But I think I get bogged down a lot of times thinking that I can achieve those standards. So I just have to do the best I can today based on the information I have.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I would have said whatever I would have said 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Gosh, if we can just get where we have 10 or 12 people in every class, what a great thing that would be.
Yeah.
Well, we do most classes.
We do.
And so where do we need to go from here? And that's what this is to me is live out the faith. Believers are to live a higher standard. And I want us to ask personally about ourselves and about our class, because that's what I really felt led to today. Again, this is a wonderful class. We're not there yet. Why?
We were never
Because
gonna
we
be
won't be
perfect.
here when we're there.
Right.
I will say.
That's good. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So that's really the bottom line is we can't be here and be there both. We cannot be, you know. So, and I bet I won't be the wonderful teacher when we get to heaven. I'm just
It'd be
betting.
awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I won't be the wonderful teacher.
No.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, you can wish.
yeah. So anyway,
I
I
think
bet.
our goal is to be like Christ, in which it's very difficult because to where, you know, the word, the name Christian is so, it's, you know, used in a flippant way. And, you know, the world who doesn't know what a true Christian is about, you know, we're marked, you know, different faiths do not, they think that we're, you know, these liberal people that do whatever they want and then we're saved by Jesus. But that's not what God's word says, nor is it what we're supposed to be. So we are to be the body of Christ, which is to stay together and staying firm in God's word and have a bold faith. It's really difficult to have a bold faith. It really is. But go ahead.
And that is. I was just going to say how difficult it is and how easy it should be. I was just thinking today, this first little verse, and I know the shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus wept.
Yeah.
This has to be the shortest with the most meaning. The shortest that we could talk about this entire verse, this entire lesson, and probably this entire month. Let brotherly love continue. Boy, for 4 little bitty words. So what is that? Who's he talking to, and what's to continue then?
Fellow believers is directed at.
I saw a commercial that really impressed me. It was a father and every one of his wife. He was nice to her when she got up, and he was nice to all the kids. And finally, he said, "Can we all gather in the living room around the Christmas tree?" And so they did, and they were all anticipating the big scene. And he said, "You know, I've just been thinking that I left something out." And he reached and got the Bible.
That's
So
yeah.
it really moved me because I get in that thing with everybody else. One thing I will not do, I will not say Happy Holiday.
Yeah. No.
I ain't ever singing it.
Forget it.
The Bible says
Merry
Christmas.
So how do we show brotherly love? As a Sunday school class, how do we show brotherly love?
By trying to meet the needs of people
Yeah.
who need it. I mean, who
Like what we were talking about.
with our Sunday school group.
You know, and I think it goes more than that. I think it's just our day-to-day
Right.
interactions, and I think we still, you know, like we all
Mm-hmm.
have interactions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really,
I do too. I do too.
Well, you
Well, I
know,
do too. I don't think it's a big thing.
no, it's just a
Something to
way
say.
of life.
Brotherly love is this, is what you do every day.
Right.
And you do it because you want to, you don't have to. But I was in a little hurry this morning and went up to the hospital to get my coffee and something to eat. This fellow I've been dealing with all week, he wanted to talk to me about a family situation that was going on with a brother. And anyway, he stopped me again. I said, "Oh, I wanted to say I don't have time." But he told me that the whole problem had been solved.
oh, good.
Wow.
And I said, "How did you come about that?" And he said, "My mom and my dad and I let God do it."
Gee.
That's the key right there.
You know, that's
Just
what to
turn it
me
over.
brotherly love is stop and look around you and see if there's anything out there that you can help. And most of us are, it's happening all around us to show brotherly love, but we don't do it. We're busy focusing on our whatever.
But you know, at the same time, though, to me, kind of like what Jan was talking about there, I see us as we support each other as this Sunday school group. You know, sometimes to me, a word doesn't even have to be said. I don't think in my mind, I don't have to wonder like, well, I wonder if the class is going to help me out with something if I were to ask them. I think the beauty of that is like, I know you've got my back and I don't have to think anything about it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a way with me, when I started the Monday and Thursday Bible study, I didn't have to worry about going in and not knowing anyone
Yeah.
because there was Mary Beth and Marty there, somebody to sit with every time.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the bigger thing too, other than, and God tries to teach this, and we finally realized that with, like, for instance, I'm dealing with my daughter. So love is also disciplining.
Oh, yes.
And it's something that if we, I told you guys about accountability. That's the biggest thing that I need in my daily life is accountability. But God, He shaped this so awesome, for what the body of Christ is supposed to do. We're supposed to meet the needs, but we're also supposed to help hold each other accountable so we can grow and we don't fall behind. And we're, because when we're held accountable, we learn, we grow from that experience, and then we are able to joy, and then other people grow. I mean, it's just amazing what His plan is. But, if love is also, brotherly love is also holding our brothers and sisters accountable. Do you not believe that? I mean, I believe it totally. And I need accountability. So anybody wants to yell at me, you can.
We're all gonna call you.
Call me.
All of us.
Go ahead.
We'll
I
make
have
you
a
feel
different
bad.
way of doing that accountability.
What's that?
Make you feel guilty.
Yeah, see, I don't want to do the guilty part. I'm just saying,
Well, that's
if
what
I
we're
know
gonna
it's
do.
out of love,
Y'all make
then
it
it's
real.
not so much guilt. It's out of love. You're like, you know what? I know I need to do this. You're right. It's a push in the right
Don't you
direction.
feel terrible?
Yeah. I mean,
Brother Mark, read verse 2. I want to have something to share with you.
Yes, so don't neglect to show hospitality, for by doing this, some have welcomed angels as guests without knowing it.
I just want you guys to know.
yeah, Angel, I got you.
No, that's not what I was gonna say. Anyway, this comes back to me when I first started coming here, and I worked for the church here for a while, and we'd have our staff meetings at 8:30 every day, and then some folks from the care center would roll, and it's always the same guy. Sorry, I can't remember his name, but you couldn't understand him. The way he would speak, very, very mush mouth and very quick. It's very, very difficult to understand the guy. And you'd see him around town collecting cans,
I know who you're talking
riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
And just, he seemed like a really good guy. He was a pretty good logistical guy because he's always coming over and asking about what could be done at the care center. And everybody just kind of, like, oh, there he is again. And then Pastor Rick said, you don't know about that guy. He said, that might be that scripture right there.
Right.
And I thought, it
Teaching
might be.
us a lesson.
It might be.
We went to the care center once, and I was amazed. Now, y'all don't know, I say we do a lot. One thing I do at the office is take care of people that need taken care of, I will say. Well, we came down here to work, and I was really kind of negative about really was. These are just going to be people that, my patients just kept showing up and showing up. Oh, Dr. Mark, it is so wonderful for you to be here. And we really need your help. And there's two guys coming up, young guys that have 10 million tattoos and studs. And and they come through and they're just so polite and everything. And, you leave and
You want it to be a bad situation, but it becomes good. You're like, oh.
yeah, so.
Gotta go back.
And one thing I will say about these two verses to me, why do we need to show brotherly love?
So it's an example of
Because
Christ
we've
did.
got to show love, don't we?
Right.
And if I can't show love to my brothers who should know what real love is, and how in the world am I going to show that love to people that don't know it?
Right.
And so it's always to me, you've got to act right to everyone, because if you don't, you're going to act wrong to someone. And boy, that is a tough thing. just a tough thing. And, you know, you look and where do you start and stop? Where do you start disrespecting someone and say, well, I can disrespect them, but not them? Well, what's the answer is you can't.
I tried to show love to the lady that came to my home,
Yes.
and she invited herself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Anyway, she was extremely
tough.
pregnant. And she told me she was looking for her cousin, David James, and he lived in a blue house. And I thought, Joyce, turn it off because you don't have any blue houses down here in your neighborhood. I thought, well, it was like 90 degrees.
So-
I said, well, would you like something to drink? So I opened the door and I was going to get her something when she comes in behind me. And she goes to my refrigerator and opens it to see what she wants, because I usually have Dr. Pepper, orange juice, Sprite, and that sort of thing. And then after she drank some of that, well, she wanted to know, could she use the bathroom? I said, well, sure, go ahead. And she did. Well, the next day she brought herself back and brought her boyfriend. She already had 3 children living with her mother in Bryant. And here she's going to have this other child. And I asked him if he wants something to drink, and he did. And so she opens the refrigerator door and reads off what's there and gets whatever we said. He went into the living room and sat down, and she went to the bathroom. And then the next morning was Saturday, and she came and knocked on my door. And I said, I cannot invite you into my home. I said, because some of my jewelry is gone. Oh, Miss Raspberry, and tears just start flowing. I said, no, just don't even say anything, because there's only been 2 people in my home, my husband and me. And then you came. And I said, my jewelry is no longer there. So I have to know that you're the one that took it. So I thought, well, Joyce, that's your last time inviting anybody to come into your home.
That
Of course,
also-
I mean, you know, my husband was 6'7", so I wasn't concerned about anybody.
That also,
Yeah.
though, is where if you hadn't practiced showing love to people that can properly receive it, you would have not ended that relationship being who you wanted to be. And that's what I've
right.
tried to learn through my life. It is very difficult, and trying to teach my children is you strive to be who you want to be. Every word you say in every situation. Now, I'm not very good at it. I'm getting better, and by the time I'm y'all's age, I will probably be just past average, I would guess. But it is something that you know, I think that's why we practice showing brotherly love, because in a situation like that, if you hadn't practiced, you're going to show something you don't want to show. Because it's all in there. It is in there waiting to come out. At least it is for me.
And Dr. Mark, don't you think, like, especially this time of year, like when you go to places like Walmart and everything is so crowded and everybody's in such a big rush, and it's so easy to get angry at people or people who are in front of you and you're trying to get around them. And I have to have extra patience this time of year when I do that. You know, just to be kind to people.
One of the things God teaches me through, it's kind of funny, is texting. I don't text a whole lot, but enough. And I'm amazed how many times I have to erase what I was starting to say and say, you know what, that is not really what I want to say, is it? And I erase it and start over. Now, talking, I probably already said it before. I wish I could erase it. Yes. So
I can read between those lines too, mister.
Yes, you said thank you. What did that mean exactly?
So, well, let me read. Go ahead.
Okay, that first verse, just let brotherly love continue. That word continue means they were already doing it. He seemed to reminded them
Right.
of doing what they were already doing. Sometimes we tell our kids things more than once, and then,
Right.
well, I told you such and such a year ago. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing I said that I as a Sunday school class, let's show hospitality in our church, a way to intentionally find people who need a Sunday school class. We know that need's there. Cindy, you talk to people all the time, don't you, that say, we don't even go to Sunday school anymore. We can't find a class we like.
Who tells you that?
Are we doing that? Or are we saying, hey, we've got something that we think you would like come down here, because you know the bad thing, the tough thing about that, they might not come back.
Well,
Sometimes
We
I like
won't.
to have our close
We-
group.
well, I know.
I only know you guys.
I say again,
we feel uncomfortable when we have visitors.
are
No.
we showing the hospitality as a class? We need to be going and finding people that need a Sunday school class.
So you saying you need to unlock that door?
Well, we've got the perfect media. The way to do it here, you
Right
don't
there.
have to invite. You can say, look, if y'all are looking, check us out online, and if it's something that you
Yeah.
like,
Blog
then
us.
come down, because
Good
then it
idea.
doesn't put any pressure on them to show
Right.
up,
That's true.
and or pressure on us to treat them nice if we don't
Yeah.
like that person. So, you know, I'm being
But I
facetious here,
will- I
but
will
still,
say
we've got,
it
it's an
is.
easy
See, you
out,
opened
since-
that
up.
and
And
I've
that's what I
invited a
tell
lot of
people.
people. I don't know who
Yeah.
has ever looked. I don't know if they've actually watched it or not, but it's very easy to say, hey, go
That's a
look
good
at
idea.
this. It's on YouTube.
Here's
It's
your
And
not
we're
hard
gonna
to
personal
see,
find.
invite.
we need a bigger room, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
I think
So-
we make it a program of attraction rather than promotion.
Right,
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, make a better mousetrap or whatever.
First, we
And I
make
think
it.
We're doing it.
Yeah. But we keep making it intentional. And I think that's the thing this is. Don't neglect to show hospitality. When I had that big Thanksgiving supper, we had enough for 8 more people. Did we go share? No, that stuff's going to go to waste in someone's refrigerator.
Mhm.
It is. And this could go to waste down here in this digging deeper room
If we don't.
if we put it in the refrigerator and store it. It is. So anyway, last one, remember
You know,
the,
you're pretty wise to work with people.
Oh,
Don't tell him
Yeah,
that.
I did.
It goes to his head.
remember
You
the
just
prisoners
not
as though you were in prison with them, and the mistreated as though you yourselves were suffering bodily. Boy, can you lighten up just a little bit?
No.
Who do we need to help in this way? And my question was, do we truly have intent in this class to do that?
I think what,
I told you it's going to be an ugly lesson.
know it.
didn't I?
Yeah.
I think one of the things that happens, and I'm thinking to myself, is we get a group like this and we get to know each other, we get comfortable with each other.
Mhm.
And if we're not careful, if some stranger shows up, we kind of,
We don't know what to do.
So,
They're not
we kind
welcome.
of hope they don't
They're not
come
welcome.
back.
so just to say, so we would say, and you know, this is all back
We
in
get
this
so
time.
comfy.
So these were real prisoners they were talking about here. I mean, Paul was a prisoner. So, but who are these people? If we're gonna,
It's like a Sunday school class.
yeah, I mean, but who are the prisoners? Who are the mistreated? Who do we need to share as a class? Who is it we need to share with that?
In this lesson, that first phrase, they were fellow Christians who were in prison. And there are lots of those around the world today.
And I think you know, I always say, and that's what we need to do both. We need to look worldwide. Who are those people? We need to look in our church. Who are those people? Because they're everywhere. We do need to extend what we're doing out. You know, I mean, I don't know. We've got $400 in our thing. What's the deal with, I don't know, heifer, whatever. What if we gave 2 of our dollars that we collect each Sunday to some mission, to something? Would we make a difference?
Oh, yeah.
But we're putting that money up for, I don't know.
Oh, speaking of making a difference.
New Year's party.
Something was said here a long time ago about being in debt and what they were, well, when we got the map thing for the budget for the church, you know, this last few days ago, my husband just decided, he sat down, pen and paper, and he figured out what our church could do if we were not in debt. Y'all, I said, make me that list. I want to take a class. If we were not in debt, now this is $583,000 we're in debt here. And he just took gospel for Asia because that's what we're familiar with other than church. We could build 40 church buildings that would accommodate 350 people in each building in India. We could dig 416 wells, which reaches villages. We could provide the salaries of 162 indigenous missionaries. They know the language, they know the culture, all this sort of thing. We could provide 5,300 bicycles for pastors and missionaries. Or we could provide 2,916 rickshaws so men could support their families. If we were not in debt, y'all. We could provide 5,071 sewing machines so women could make their families' clothes, could make it for the village and make money. And it goes on and on and on. If we were not in debt, y'all. But then I got to thinking about it. What about our families individually? How much debt are we in, and what could we do if we were not in debt?
Right.
I remember years ago, Gerald and I were buying our house, first house in Little Rock. And somewhere, and we got a loan like everybody else. I remember the first time I wrote a check for $85.46 for the first payment of a 20-year loan. I was shocked.
No.
Years later, we learned how if you could pay your thing off early.
Mhm.
We paid our house off 5 years early and began our trip down the road. But what we can do if we're not all in debt as families at a big church. But what we do in our families transfers into church, and so everybody's in debt.
And that's where
Yeah.
American way.
That's what this talk about. You go both ways. That's what I say. You got to think as small as you can think. You got to think as big as you can think, and it's both ways. You just got to. And so, yeah, I've talked to my son about that.
I was just
that
thinking,
part
can we
of
have her
that.
talk to? We'll just have them talk
My husband has asked to talk to young people and their parents about some of these things.
Start with
And
my kids.
My son is just it's really about getting married and living on student loans versus trying to finish school without student loans. Okay. And his point, and it's simple, is, well, it's not really an issue if we both graduate. And for that individual circumstance, that is true. Yes, they will pay those student loans off. But what will happen if they do that? They will get an attitude of instant gratification. You will get an attitude that says, well, now I need those two cars because I'm already in debt. What's another $50,000? Well, now I need that bigger house. I'm already in debt. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And it comes down to, well, what's the cost of that loan? Well, $100. So what? I'm just so $100. Well, okay, and that's what I try to tell people all the time. So give me your billfold. I'll never forget. I had an employee one time that was throwing away money, we thought, at the office, kind of, not on purpose, just not paying attention. So she kind of threw a fit. So I said, give me your purse. Okay, here. I pulled out $20, wadded up, threw it in the trash can. And she said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm throwing away your money. Well, why? Because you're throwing away mine. Well, no, I'm not. I'm like, yes, you are. Just like I just did is what you're doing. But,
It was not that. I guarantee you. It was not that.
We'd be in trouble if it
yeah,
was you.
but it is. And that's what this lesson is and why it still applies today to our Sunday school class when it was being taught by somebody to this group in Hebrews. You know, so that's why we talk about. So the next thing is respect marriage.
Why do you throw that in?
Yeah.
Well,
These guys are all in prison.
because they wanted me to be a political nightmare today. So
I think you need to skip this one.
marriage must be respected by all, and the marriage bed kept undefiled, because God will judge immoral people and adulterers. So I'm just going to say, gay marriage is wrong. That is not an undefiled marriage bed. That is immoral people, and it is wrong. In the New Testament, Hebrews 13:4, gay marriage is wrong. So
Bam, there, that's it. You don't have to say any
Okay,
more. It's bam,
so-
that's it. and
so
God's word
I'm going to
says.
go on.
Yeah.
It is important for all reasons, but we do have that argument that, oh, it's not written in. Yes, it is written into the New Testament, and it is wrong. And so it is important that we do everything in a way that honors God. That does not honor God. It didn't 100 years ago. It didn't 1,000 years ago. It does not today.
And that's not just people who we say, okay, gay marriage is wrong, and these people are in our families.
Yeah.
So it's
And-
very personal.
And I will say it's very important that we do what?
Love
Love.
Let brotherly love continue. Okay, so I am not going to say don't love gay people. I am not going to say that. I'm just going to say that yes. So the next part,
Pray for 'em. We
I
got
like this: security in God. This is 5 and 6. Your life should be free from the love of money. Be satisfied with what you have, for he himself has said, I will never leave you or forsake you. Therefore, we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? So what's the love of money give us?
Bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the, I was gonna say grief, but you're right.
The love of it.
We're enslaved to it.
Didn't say the money itself does. It's the love of it.
Because we do need it.
If you're worried about how you're gonna pay your bills, or
Right.
maybe you have an emergency coming, you don't have an emergency fund. Wow. You spend all your time worrying about money and how you don't have it.
I saw somebody yesterday thinking about that. They were at an ATM machine, someone that works at the hospital. And she said, I hope I have $20 on my bank
Oh,
account.
that is so sad.
Yeah.
And that is a difficult thing. And I think that is something I
A
teach
lot of
students
people
some
live
now, and I try for myself. We're all different spots on money. And I tell my students, you have got to find a way, whatever you make, to understand the real value of money, to understand if it's $10 a month more, what that means, to understand. And I'll say honestly, $10 a month to me, as $10 a month doesn't mean much. Let me go just buy something for $120. That kind of bothers me. And I mean, I and so when you look at money, you got to know how to look at it that way. But what does the love of money? Why do I need that savings fund?
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
So I can have peace, right?
Right.
Isn't it interesting? Be satisfied with what you have, for he himself has said, I will never leave you or forsake you.
My 30th year of teaching school, my contract salary was not even $17,000. One day, there were several teachers standing around talking about how much money they were going to make. I said, well, this is my 30th year, and my contract salary is $16,850. And they said, well, why do you not make more money? I said, well, I did not choose to go back to school and get a master's degree because there was only $300 difference in what I would make in the master's degree. And besides that, I wasn't going to leave my children on Saturday, even though they had excellent babysitters, so to speak, since my mother and daddy kept them. But this other teacher said, well, how do you pay your bills? I said, I don't worry about that. I said, I've always managed. I said, we don't go buy something if we can't pay it out and know that we're going to be able to pay for it.
Right.
I said, and so through our life, now, of course, my husband made more money because he coached. But even if that had been it, I never gave a thought to how much money. One time I remember our checking account only had 37 cents in it. And I thought you can't even hardly buy a loaf of bread for 37 cents. But it didn't matter because we got paid the next day. And we had plenty that we needed to pay our bills.
Made good choices.
But, you know, that was just never one of my worries in life as to,
Right.
besides my mother and daddy lived in Benton and Curtis's mother and daddy lived in Benton, and I knew we wouldn't starve, but we still had obligations that we had to take care of, and we had to give to the Lord, and which was the most important thing of all. But I think too many people, of course, depend on money. I've never been one that had to have all of the good things in life, you know, because I thought family and love and friends love was much more
I
than
think
anything you could buy.
that is a big key. If you get in debt, you have to depend on money. Once you get in debt, you are in bondage. I think that says that somewhere, doesn't it? Yeah. So you got.
So maybe what it is, Dr. Mark, is making good choices plus your faith, right?
Yeah.
Have those go together.
And realizing Jesus gives us peace. A bank account doesn't give us peace.
I guess if there's any, well, a lot of things. One of the biggest things I am so thankful for is that Gerald and I never got in debt. I mean, not we bought the house, but I mean, so far as credit cards every month and stuff like that, we got both our children through. Well, Jeff has 1, 2, 3 degrees, and Debbie has 2. All of that, they got out without owing anybody anything. We could help, you know. And I just, the freedom of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Is just wonderful.
Yeah, we pay our credit cards every month.
Yeah.
Just pay it off.
Yeah.
I want to make sure we finish here because this is the most important little lesson I've heard.
I'm sorry.
Is imitate proven leaders, and it made sure to say not just your preachers but your Sunday school teachers. So yeah.
Your department leader.
Yeah, and your department leader, of course. So. Now that's neat. However, just to say, were I to name this Sunday school class, I would have named it a teacher's class. So none of y'all are off the hook there, okay? Because every one of us is what this place is talking about, okay? Every one of us is a proven teacher and a proven leader, every one of us. And that's what we're bringing to this class. Ms. Raspberry has never taught an adult. And look what she's given us.
50 years of 30.
It's refreshing though.
You do good doing that.
But
That's what I
seriously,
like
is it?
Because we can relate.
I can tell you some more tales.
That's amazing. You lasted that long with 3-year-olds.
But look how much she's teaching us now.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's just like I say, it is something we're all teachers. We are, and we're all teaching while we're in here, and we have to remember that.
You know, I got to think that you said you wish it'd been called the teacher's class.
Mm-hmm.
I still think if that were the case, a lot of folks would be intimidated about being in our class.
Yeah.
They seem to be anyway.
That's okay.
I think that's what intimidates.
That's okay. So anyway, the less that 7 and 8. Remember your leaders who have spoken God's word to you as you carefully observe the. Hope I can't read my writing there. As you carefully observe the outcome of their lives, imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. 2 things I'm kind of talking about here. Important for us to recognize our leaders, right?
Yes.
I guess.
No, we need to. We need to
It says observe the outcome of their lives and imitate their faith, okay? Now I see this a lot, and I see people leaving the church, and I hear people, well, the lesson's too simple. The lesson's this, the lesson's that. The lesson is the lesson. The lesson is faith. The lesson is what Jesus has, and we want to look. So I'll say, so I look at Rick and sometimes, and I've heard people, I wish his lessons were a little bit deeper. Okay. If I want deeper, let me look at what I see him doing, living, helping. That's where that deeper is. Okay. I enjoy teaching this class. However, if y'all couldn't look at me and the outcome of my faith,
We would stray away.
would you really be here?
Right.
If you looked in the outcome of my faith, a lot of y'all have seen me in the office. If I wasn't that there, would you be here?
Probably
No.
not.
Probably
No. If I wasn't the same person there as I am here,
Probably not.
you wouldn't be here, would
You
you?
wouldn't want to be my doctor.
Yeah. So
that.
it really is,
I learned from this.
as a teacher, as a leader, we're watched constantly. Right here, Jesus, right here, people are being told, look at your leaders, carefully observe the outcome of their lives and imitate their faith. Well, boy, that's tough, because what's that tell me? Someone's watching me, aren't they?
Right.
And I will say that for each of y'all and for our class as a whole. Someone is watching what we're doing because God told them to. Whether we're an accountability partner, whether we are mentoring people, whether we're doing, guess what? We are, aren't we?
You are, whether you
Yeah.
want to or not.
And I've said one of the neatest things God's ever presented to me when I was a kid. Sue Schultz was a few years ahead of me in school, and she was always kind of one of my heroes that, did faith the way I wanted and all that kind of stuff. Well, we're doing upwards, and I have to, during upwards, you do a little devotional, I guess it was, at halftime, and it's about heroes. And guess who sits down in my little thing? No one but Sue Schultz. And so I'm teaching to these kids, I don't know what age, about heroes and whatever. And I get to say, she has no idea.
No, that's
Here,
amazing.
here's probably my biggest hero from when I was little, sitting right here.
Boy, that's amazing.
Did you know that? Sue, did you know that? Well, no, I had no idea you even knew me. And she didn't. It wasn't, but again, that's where we are, is we're all being watched. And what does he say? He doesn't say, remember what they taught you. He doesn't say, remember their great oratories. He doesn't say, remember how wise you thought they were, does he? He says, watch the outcomes of their lives and imitate their faith. Well, that's tough. It is tough, and I think we have to remember that is people are watching. What I wrote here is note the importance of leaders and also how God expects us to live a life of example. We are all leaders. Let us lead with our words and our actions.
And I have to make one note about this, because this is where I just fail at almost all the time. Talking about brotherly love, and we are examples. We treat strangers usually better than we treat our own family and people or kids. I mean, I know, and God, I ask God pretty much every day, God forgive me for what I told Alex or said Alex, my attitude and everything. But, if we have to start with our own family, and that's very difficult. Very difficult, at least for me. I don't know, you guys may have got it all figured out, but
I say that all the time. I mean, I
It's
see
hard.
that all the time. That's
it's so
who
hard.
we are the ugliest to, is our own families and people who we don't want to hurt, we hurt. So by what we say, what we do. So why do we do Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever? Thank goodness I don't have to teach this stuff like this Hebrews guys did, right? Huh?
Yeah. You got an extra.
Those-
It doesn't change. It doesn't change. And that's what I said here. This says what we teach has not and will not change. Hebrews has covered all possible time from creation to the return of Christ. Let's keep our focus on him and his teachings. Doesn't change. Because our world has changed, our teachings cannot, will not change. We have to remember it doesn't soften. It hasn't softened. What are we on? Politically correct and whatever. It ain't about politically correct. Sin is sin. It always was, always will be. It ain't changing. If we change what we want to talk about, what we call it, so we don't hurt someone's feelings, guess what? We are not following what God has put us on this earth to do. So as a Sunday school, as leaders, let's lead and let's not be afraid to correct, as you said earlier, in brotherly love.